Hello, everyone. Open, flexible, distant learning communities around the globe. I'm very excited as I watch the opening of the AAOU virtual talk show. We have the first one, where the AAOU Annual Conference 2021 will be conducted in Colombo, Sri Lanka. This is a good opportunity for us, and this is the preparation how to get there. And then from ICDE just now, the Secretary General announced us to invite us to join the ICDE President's Forum, 25th of November. We also have three fantastic open, flexible, distant learners in the world, I guess, because they have a very good insight how open distant learning, especially during or amidst the COVID-19. So this is the first series of our virtual talk show from AAOU. Will be hosted by Universitas Terbuka, because now the president of AAOU is from Universitas Terbuka, Professor Ojat Darojat. So before we talk further about what would be inside the Reshaping Resilient Open Education Leadership in Asia during the COVID-19, I would like to invite our president, AAOU president, as well as director of Universitas Terbuka, Ojat Darojat, to deliver the speech. Please, Pak Ojat.
Okay, thank you very much, Pak Prof. Oki, and hello everyone. Good morning and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
It is my pleasure to be here today to meet you, to greet all of you who are watching this live event from different parts of the world. I hope everyone has been doing fine. To the ICDE President, Neil Fasima, and also ICDE Secretary General, Turun Selvik, and to our expert speakers today, Prof. Tian Belawati from Universitas Terbuka Indonesia, and then Prof. Dato Mansur Fazil, our best friend from Open University of Malaysia, and also Dr. Kesili from Open University of Hong Kong, and to the host of this event, of course, Prof. Oki Sembiring from Universitas Terbuka Indonesia. Also to the members of ASEAN Association of Open Universities and all the participants attending this event right now. So welcome to the AAOU virtual talk show. Everyone, this event is one of the AAOU initiatives to promote and support the development of open and distant learning, particularly in Asia regions. We are now attending the AAOU virtual talk show with the theme Reshaping Resilience of Open Education Leadership in Asia during COVID-19. So it is very important to be reported that during the COVID-19 pandemic, teaching and learning from home becoming common practice in global skills, including in Asia, and it has provided an opportunity for us, the open and distant education practitioners, to reflect on how to maintain quality higher education and to ensure equitable access for all. This idea is in line with the concern of the International Council for Open and Distant Education, ICDE, that open and distant education requires educational leaders with specific competencies, resources, and multidisciplinary knowledge. Therefore, on November 25th, 2020, ICDE is going to conduct an ICDE President Forum. This event will be a good opportunity for open and distant education leaders, including for leaders of the AAOU members, to share their ideas and experiences in relation to overcoming the problems during the COVID-19 outbreaks. AAOU is willing to actively support and take part in ICDE initiative by conducting a virtual talk show or virtual conference on AAOU concerns in reshaping resilience open education leadership in Asia during the COVID-19. The activity will present 3 experts from 3 different AAOU members institutions, which I have already mentioned recently. For your information, these 3 experts have been working in the areas of open and distance education for more than 3 decades, I think, if I'm not mistaken, as both leaders and researchers. And we all have a great expectations from their conversation today dealing with reshaping resilience open education leadership in Asia during COVID-19 pandemic. To meet the challenges from institutional, students, and government perspectives. We are also proud of having Pak Oki, Prof. Oki Sembering, who will be responsible of being the host of the talk show and will lead the whole conversations. Thank you, Pak Oki. As we all know, Prof. Oki Sembering has dedicated his knowledge, experiences in developing open and distance education through his research, papers, and publications. I strongly believe that the competition will give significant contributions to the development of quality leadership for AAOU members. It is also expected that these conversations can be used as a report and guide for reflections by registered delegates of the ICDE President Forum. At the end, to all participants, I thank you for taking your time to join our event. Please stay with us up to the end of this event to learn some ideas for maintaining better leadership in open and distance educations, particularly in Asia. Last but not least, on behalf of the good partnership that AAOU and ICDE have built, I will close these opening remarks by inviting of the rectors, presidents, vice chancellor of the ICDE members to also register and take part in ICDE President Forum on 25th November 2020. I will be there too, and it will be nice to see you all there. So have a great day all and stay safe. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you. Back to Pak Oki.
Yes, terima kasih. Thank you very much, Professor Ojat Darojat, the President of AAOU and also Director of Universitas Terbuka. So back to the hope from Pak Ojat that some of us who join this conversation of virtual talk show, you are cordially invited to join the President's Forum of ICDE on 25th of November. And then take all of this discussion to be our thought for further how to have open and flexible distance learning as a tools, not as alternative, as a tools, or if you like, as a main tools to cope with our educational system because of the pandemic. Now, regardless of pandemic or not, we are happy. I'm delighted to join with 3 fantastic and distinguished scholars. Pak Mansur, how are you? Long time no see. And also, hi, Casey. We only chat with emails and WhatsApp. But Ibu Tian, with Ibu Tian, I met at least twice a month. Okay, even though let's say the topics, the first one is in institutional challenges roundtable, student challenges roundtable as well, and government challenges. I would like to have another word instead of saying challenges or even threats. How if we say it opportunities, for example? So to make us all optimistic, how open, flexible distance learning would be as a great tools to overcome our educational system because of the COVID or beyond the COVID. So now I would like to inform you that we'll be having 3 speakers. First, we'll be talking about institutional challenges. The second one is student challenges. And the third one, government challenges. Even though Ibu Tian will be focused on institutional challenges and so on, but for Pak Mansur and for Casey, you may, what do you call it, intervene, if you like, as long as it makes all the discussion will be fruitful for all of us. So I would like to invite Ibu Tian. If I have a thought in mind, what would be opportunities institutionally for us as a practitioners or communities in OFDL, Open Flexible Distance Learning, in your experience as well as your prediction? Ibu Tian.
Thank you, Poki. Well, first of all, good morning, everyone. Casey, Pak Mansur, Pak Ojat, and everybody who participating in this talk show. I'm very happy to be here and to chat with you all this morning. So back to your question, Pak Oki, I think
Yes.
We all agree that the pandemic, has, as you said, posed a lot of challenges for higher education in everywhere in the world. It has refilled our vulnerabilities, as higher education providers, but it has also served as extraordinary human resourcefulness and potential. I think we have seen during this pandemic that the dormant potentials of all professors in Indonesia in the face-to-face campuses just hatched, and then burst and bloom into wonderful players of online learning, if I may say. So I think for us who have been working in the distance education and open universities, this pandemic has been a blessing because we have been working, campaigning, promoting open and distance learning like for decades. Not to mention how we have been doing roadshow all over the world, but to me, the success that we have achieved is not as much as what the COVID-19 has given us within less than 1 month.
How you compare the COVID and how you compare in terms of time when you said that 25 years, for example, in experience of Indonesia in open distance learning by the COVID?
For UT to go into online education, it took more than 25 years since its establishment to the first time when we offered the fully online programs. But with the COVID, in less than 25 days, all the universities went online, totally. So that I think has helped us to promote distance open education to a new different level. So it has helped us promoting what we have been campaigning all these years. However, it also gave us suddenly new competitors. Whether we like it or not, after this COVID-19, we really have to sit back and to see how far we are gaining competitors as well as we are gaining new partners in providing open and distance education to the masses. I think that would be my first answer to your question.
And a little bit more, what would be your prediction? Let's say post the COVID-19, not only for Indonesia, for example, but for Asia.
Yeah, I was talking in a webinar, I think about 2-3 weeks ago, and I said in that webinar that the online learning is here to stay. Not in Asia, even in Indonesia, because now people got to know the beauty of online learning. They got familiar with it. So even those who did not believe in online learning, now suddenly they are becoming players. And they have the competitive advantage because they jump into the wagon right in the digital era. So they didn't have to go through what we went through.
Yeah.
Because we started in the second generation of distance education, and many human resources in our universities, in the open universities, are very familiar with the second generation of distance education technologies. And our new competitors came into the wagon, right, jump into the wagon already in the, Industrial Revolution 4.0. So they didn't have that baggage, that
Yes.
they didn't have that comfort zone that many of us are like very reluctant to leave. So I think that is something that we have to look forward it. We have to reskill ourselves. We have to
Yes.
upskill ourselves to be able to be at par with the new players of online education.
Yes, very interesting. It gives us a very philosophical how to cope with or how to face the future. Thank you, Ibu Tian. Casey, even though I will ask you about student perspective on this, but before you ask about the student perspective, how you would respond to Ibu Tian said institutionally, and it relates later on to the students, not only for Open University of Hong Kong, for example, because I know you have very many experiences, at least as a chief editor of reputable journals, and you have very many student support services in the open and distance education. So before you go to the students' opportunities or challenges, how you respond to Ibu Tian about the institutional prediction just now?
Thank you for the question. Now, different countries probably have very different, in very different situations. In some countries, open education is given because of COVID-19. Everyone has to go online, and online learning is given the king status. So it's considered to be king, and everyone has to go to it. In some other countries, the conventional institutions, usually very strong institutions, they have got fully involved in online learning, and they've got used to it. They are expanding their online components. So they are going to eat into the market share of other institutions. So in some other countries, they are going to experience very keen competitions from these kind of institutions, and they will be very strong competitors for their markets. So we'll see a lot of changes coming. But again, let's look at it positively. These may bring a lot of opportunities. The most important is that we are strong enough to adapt to new environments and be able to change, adapt, and keep ourselves strong in the new environment to make sure that we can deliver quality education in the new environment.
And Casey, considering your last statement, what would be benefit or how student can have beneficial from this COVID if you see from student perspective, not from us as providers, for example? Because at the end, we have to go to the students, not to the institutional sides, right? Okay, please.
I have to say that I'm not as optimistic as you. I see really a lot of challenges, and challenges somehow is a synonym, a word similar in meaning to difficulties. Students are experiencing a lot of difficulties in various aspects, in their learning, the use of devices, availability of devices, mentally, they have challenges, and psychologically as well. So institutions still have a lot to do, governments still have a lot to do to assist students to overcome these kind of difficulties. And of course, it is good opportunity for students to adapt to the new environment. Online learning is part of the future. We can see that in future, in the workplaces, there will be a lot of AI elements, a lot of computing, data-driven elements. They need to be adapted to it. So it is a good opportunity for them.
Do you have any experiences or examples, for example, not in Hong Kong or in other place with open universities, how they intervene the difficulties of students? from student sides? How the institution?
Oh, there are many good examples.
Yeah.
I will be talking about some of them. Now, say for example, when we need to do well in online learning, now, in conventional institutions, we have also been talking about catering for diverse needs. In
Yeah.
online learning, quite often we aim at delivering a certain set of learning materials to students. But to cater for diverse needs, we should be giving students options, making a broad range of options available for students to go through the same learning the same target items through different learning words. So different learning tools, different types of learning materials are made available. Some institutions have been able to do this. For example, in China, some institutions they have been able to do this. And of course, this kind of development can be very expensive. And this calls for collaboration, partnership for open universities, for institutions to work together so that we can do well, deliver, we can work together to enhance the quality of our work.
Thank you, Casey. Before I go to Pak Mansur, Ibu Tian, last time I heard that you have edited books, higher education, from our Director General of Higher Education. How you can supplement or give another good examples from student side?
Well, I think Casey was right that students face a lot of difficulties in doing online learning. It's because, first of all, they don't have adequate internet connection. And second of all, they don't have adequate gadgets to do so. So many students are relying on a smartphone or even maybe not so smartphone. And even for the connection, they're tethering to their handphone data connection. So, however, the survey that the Director General of Higher Education did, and we did, showed that although they face a lot of difficulty, Casey, in case of Indonesia, almost 50% of students, they said they would love to still do online learning after the COVID is over. Not for all the courses, for some of the courses, and not fully, but probably some blended. But they grow their love toward online learning due to its flexibility and its richness in the materials. So I think from there we learn that what you said is correct, that we need to innovate more in the learning materials to enhance the quality of learner content interaction and also independent learning of students. In case of Indonesia, during the first 4 weeks of the pandemic, when all the professor was forced to go online and to move their classes to online, even the professor found a lot of difficulties. But within short period of time, they could overcome their obstacles, and they came up with a lot of creativities that no one could ever think of before. And that showed that, I think one thing that has been shown to us is the one that we didn't believe before the COVID, and that was that we can change. Yes. We thought the professor can never change, but the COVID showed us that they do change and they can change. And I think that is a big thing.
Yes, yes.
Knowing that we can change is a very good start for doing the change itself.
Okay, thank you, Ibu Tian. Pak Mansur, I think you are not included in the unchangeable because I know you always back to the future. You go first. So before I ask you about how would be governments support the ODL, let's say to the institutional open distance education, for example, but how you respond? Ibu Tian just now said about the institutional aspects, and then Casey said there is a difficulties in terms of student access, for example, and Ibu Tian also give some examples from Indonesia, but the optimistic things is there. Now, I ask you about the government opportunities to hear, what would be your response to Ibu Tian and Casey, or Casey first? Thank you.
My brief response to all the members of the esteemed talk show is, number one, we want to say thank you to Ute, thank you to ICDE for inviting us. Here is my brief response.
Yes.
For the past 3 or 4 months, OUM has done very, very well. And this is due to the help from our counterpart as well as the help from our government.
Okay.
Basically, in Malaysia, we have 3 ODL institutions, maybe 4 or 5, but the one that is well known is 3. And basically, this institution did very, very well in the last few months. Secondly, our program, 80 to 90% are already online. It's a matter of converting 5 to 10% to be online, and we can be online. And thirdly, before we embark on anything, we ask the student. We did conduct a survey. How do they want education to be delivered? How do they want the assessment to be offered to them? And we follow 90% of what they ask. Basically, we have 34 learning centers throughout Malaysia. And we have 30,000 students now with us. We only need 20,000 to be what we call self-sustaining, but now we have 10,000 more. And we are hoping that through this pandemic, we can capture maybe 40, maybe 50,000 students throughout the world. And we believe that this pandemic is a blessing in disguise.
Okay.
Basically, it helped the people to understand how education is delivered, and it promotes e-learning indirectly. So because we believe, we OUM are of the opinion that even after pandemic, the e-learning ought to be offered to the people in the fully online, fully face-to-face program. And over the years, maybe over time, we can convince them to embrace and enjoy this e-learning thing. And the important thing is that we must have good access to technology. And every country facing these challenges. It depends on which country you are in. It depends on how easy or how expensive it is. But basically, for OUM, we are providing our academicians with new laptop. We are providing the support staff with new laptop. We are hoping that the services is good, if not better than what it was before. And at the moment, our HQ, we require only 1/5. Basically, the government has a SOP presented to all the education providers, and we are hoping to meet all this SOP, and we are hoping that all our students, in particular our students, will be able to enjoy the benefit of either Google Meet or Zoom or whatever it is. But over the time, we are hoping that we are going to equip our students, our tutors, our lecturers, our support staff with all the necessary tools for them to perform better in this new way of doing things. And I'm glad that Ibu Tian and Casey Lee has mentioned that there are issues, challenges with regard to offering ODL and so on. My sincere belief that over time, we need to do ODL plus face-to-face where necessary, and give them the opportunity to select whether a combination of both or one or the other, which one is better for them. And I think technology will evolve over time. We have got Zoom, we have got Google. Maybe later on we'll have another thing which is better for educationists and better for us to do. Because one of the things we have not addressed is with regard to what happened if the courses has got lab. How do we deal with lab? Maybe technology can help us. Maybe we have a minimum face-to-face, but virtual lab is the way forward. And basically, we need to touch base with our student, our tutors on how best we need to move forward. But one thing we must remember is that we are all in the old era. There's a new era coming up now. So basically, we are now in transition stage. Basically, over the next few years, maybe all will go into the new era, but we have to treat this carefully so as to make sure that the student will not be worse off, the tutors will not be worse off, and over the years, we believe that we need to change. Like we can say, we have to change because of COVID, and it is for the better. Thank you so much.
Okay, one more question. I think there should be one more, I don't know, maybe one, maybe two critical issues should go to government to make the online and the face-to-face just now for lab practice, for laboratory work, for example. What would be your suggestion here to be our knowledge? Yes.
For my suggestion, in the years ahead, perhaps the face-to-face, pure face-to-face, got to include a bit of online in the learning, right? So that we can contain the course without compromising on the quality, which is important. And basically, we have experience with this thing. Over the time, our learning centers got to change, our blended learning got to change. Basically, the government, also the public university in particular, has got to change. Or instead of pure face-to-face, maybe face-to-face plus a little bit of online is good for them. And basically, how do you best leverage on technology to make the learning better and proper?
Thank you, Pak Mansur. Casey, if you notice the last one for the laboratory work, I know in OU Hong Kong, for example, you have great examples for that. How you can share your experience for the laboratory work, let's say in the chemistry, for example, or other IT programs. And before that, how about the government support in your case? The mic, please, Casey. The microphone.
You are still muted, Casey.
Casey, your microphone. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you for reminding me of this. Thank you. We try to minimize the disruption of the lab work in several ways. One, we use virtual laboratory technology. Say, for example, quite a number of science laboratory workshop could be replaced by virtual kind of experiment. So that is one thing. The next is that this is also related to practicum work required by professional body. For that type of practical work, the institution has to discuss with the professional body about how to have some compromise. Because of COVID-19, it is virtually not possible to have laboratory work. So there got to be some compromise. And even when we have laboratory work, we can only have it in very small groups. So the government only allows very small groups of people to come together. So we only allow small groups. So we speed up big groups into very small groups. And of course, this means a lot more resources, but this is something that we have to do. That is the next way. The third way is that we apply for various types of government funding to add additional resources, additional equipment, additional facilities to support our students. These are some of the ways that we have been doing. Of course, for different programs, especially for different types of professional programs, say for example, testing and certification programs, they got to satisfy a certain accreditation requirements. For the training of nurses, they got to satisfy certain accreditation requirements. So we got to discuss and handle the issues one by one according to the program's needs.
In your case, in OU Hong Kong, for example, what would you place your government here to make the more accessible for the students, as well as the institutional can afford to give the better service, as Pak Mansur said just now?
To us, money doesn't seem to be really the major issue.
Okay.
What is more important is to find out ways to solve the problem. Yeah, we are having a distance from the students, but at the same time, we want to get close to them really to do our best to assist them through the learning and the growth process throughout their university education.
Okay, thank you, Casey. Distinguished participants, if you have any questions, you can go to the chats. We'll be having about 20 minutes later on about your questions, and then we'll ask our experts to answer that. But Ibu Tian, in terms of student number, Universitas Terbuka is extraordinary. Casey just now said that they must, it seems, to make in the separate and smaller groups when we're talking about the, let's say, study group or laboratory work. What would be your, let's say, suggestion for university like Universitas Terbuka, which has, let's say, 200,000, 300,000, or even more? Please, Ibu Tian.
You mean related to practical work?
Yes, yeah, laboratory work, yeah.
Well, I think in our case, in our university, we for a long time encourage students to form study groups, which only consist of up to 20 people. And I think in certain study programs, such as in biology or chemistry or physics, the study groups is even smaller. And we have been developing virtual lab, what we call it dry lab, which basically are simulations of practical works to prepare students to do the real practical works when they go to the web lab. So during the pandemic, I believe we are capitalizing on our dry lab or our virtual lab. But I believe that as the pandemic is, getting better, I mean, hopefully by the end of this year or early next year, we would have some vaccine for us, and then we could then reapply the practical work where we ask students to go to the nearby laboratorium in their areas after doing practical practice using the dry lab. So I think the time that we lost for this real practical work is only these 2 semesters. And I believe by next semester, Universitas Terbuka will be able to reenact whatever that we have been using for practical works. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Ibu Tian. Pak Mansur, I noticed, maybe I'm not wrong, that you also have foreigner students. Not only in Malaysia, and they are not Malaysians too. So I mean, international student around the world. Before the COVID and after now we are in amidst the COVID, what is the difference in terms of your support to them?
Basically, Pak Gogi, we have students in Vietnam, in Ghana, and so on, right? So basically, most of we rely on our partner.
Okay.
The partner is an established institution in the country, and the student register with the partner, and we provide help and support to the partner. And currently, those are not working. Basically, most students do online, and we do have they can register online while it is, but we are mindful of the fact that we have to go through our partner, and hopefully after this COVID we can travel, because now we cannot travel anywhere. Hopefully after the COVID, right, we can travel and we can make education truly accessible to most people out there. Thank you,
And
Pak.
then I am interested when you say to make learning or teaching or access even better. Now, if you compare in your experience in OUM, for example, if you compare right after the COVID, let's say March or April last month, the last March, April, and now to approach the next year, what would be the jump you need so that we don't find any troubles in serving the students?
Basically, we have enhanced our data center with computers and so on. We have given laptop to our academic and our support staff, and now we are thinking perhaps making the accessibility more accessible to our students. Basically, we have conducted a survey. Most of them has got 2 handphones and so on, but basically we have to make sure that they get access to quality education at affordable cost. And basically we have to think of ways how to make them accessible. They can use their handphone, they can use their laptop. Basically we are turning our learning center, instead of having a face-to-face at the learning center, maybe our learning center become a support center. They can go there with good internet access over there. And hopefully over time, more and more people will be what we call easily can be, they find that the education through e-learning is effective, but we realize that we have to have a bit of face-to-face in order to make the whole thing more effective, because we are in the transition phase.
I remember the last statement from the second round of Ibu Tian. We have to upscale internally, institutionally, and also personally. What is your strategy in your institution, and what would be appropriate to another institution, for example?
Basically, to provide quality education, you need a combination of both e-learning as well as face-to-face, but perhaps less and less face-to-face and more e-learning as we go over time. That's my thinking.
Okay. Casey.
Goki, I in fact have prepared a PowerPoint for today. When I first learned of having 20 minutes, I prepare quite a number of PowerPoint slides. I'd like to go through some of them. Some of them might be useful for discussion.
You are okay.
And
so it makes clearer. You may share with one.
Okay. Hope you can see it now.
Okay.
I'd like to very quickly go through some of the points. That is probably not enough time for me to go through the whole PowerPoint file. But I really congratulate the organizer for choosing the topic, Reshaping Resilient Open Education Leadership. It's highly focused. It's not only about ODE leadership, and it's not just about reshaping, it's also about resilient. For resilient, we are not talking about this kind of being resilient, being strong. We are not talking about having a miracle. In our situation, we are not talking about springing back into shape either. We know that situation could be quite different after the COVID-19. So more and more we are talking about going into a new ecosystem. That is making ourselves becoming resourceful enough to grow, to be strong, to really deliver quality education in the new system. The during COVID-19 and after COVID-19 and in future challenges. We are educators, we are educational needs or professional educators. We're in services for students. So we take care of students' well-being, students' future contribution. We believe that every student matters. So when we talk about this, we are not just talking about big groups of students. We take care of a large number of students, but at the same time, we see them as individuals. They have their difficulties, they have their challenges, but the challenges are very diverse. In Asia, it is a very special region. The situation could be very different. In different cities, even within the same country, the situation could be quite different. Now, the question given to me also talk about that is a timing issue. At different periods of time, at the beginning of COVID-19, at this stage, and in the coming months and coming years, we see that there will be different challenges that we are facing. But when we are talking about challenges, most of us are talking about the change of learning modes. When we talk about learning modes, we talk about the feasibilities in terms of not only about institution, but also about to students, whether they're feasible, how the government is supporting it. We are talking about the disruption, how we could minimize the disruption. All these, our focus is on learning effectiveness, learning efficiency. But to deliver quality education, we don't just talk about learning. We take care of our students as a whole person. We also talk about their well-being. So the suitability of the kind of learning mode, the kind of learning methods we have selected for our students, and there's acceptabilities for them. So the sudden shift to online learning pushes us to consider all these seriously about device availability. This is related to course, about functionality, about connectivity of the internet, digitized content, our soft skill, our student skills. There are a variety of changes. In Asia, like most other parts of the world, we are very much affected, though there are also territories that are very much unaffected, like Taiwan, very much unaffected by the COVID-19, but most regions are badly hit. Take Hong Kong examples. I mean, different parts of the world have very different, are suffering from very different impacts. In Hong Kong, I just quote you one example, very special example. The living space in Hong Kong are very small. Somehow, every row of window you see in the picture here, that it is one family already. So a lot of people are staying in a small flat. In Hong Kong, the per capita living space compared with many other major cities, we suffer from having much less. So finding a place to study in Hong Kong is difficult. The same for our staff. Probably you are not aware of this. Even for staff, if they need to teach from home, there are other family members in the same flat. It could be inconvenient. That is why quite a number of staff members come back to the campus to deliver online teaching. So we have been doing quite a lot. But could we do it in a slightly different way if we are aware of the pandemic? Probably we cannot change what has been done, but we can look ahead. We are facing COVID-19, but there could also be, even when COVID-19 subsides, there could be COVID-21, COVID-22.
Oh, so, no, please don't.
Yeah, certainly not. But we need to be prepared. So institutions have been doing something. Take my institution, for example. All our classrooms are now HIFAX ready. So that is, students can attend the class. At the same time, students in other parts of the world and in other parts of Hong Kong, they can interact together. And the lesson is recorded. So students who would like who prefer asynchronous learning can also have it. But this is very demanding on staff. We have upgraded our staff's devices. We have a large number of professional development sections. We also organize student activities, both on-site and online, to cater for their diverse needs. Many of us used to talk about resuming normal. But we have mentioned quite a number of times that the future may not be the same. If yellow represents online learning and green represents face-to-face learning, probably in the future, there will be much, much more online learning. The world will be quite different after COVID-19. Tian just mentioned that students love the online learning, the flexibility of it. We are experiences in Hong Kong too. We are quite a number of staff are working hard to attract students back to the campus when the COVID-19 situation subsides. But it's very difficult because a lot of students have experienced that they prefer to have it through telephone, through conferencing, video conferencing, through Zoom. I'm not going through everything, but that is a lot of material around. And I'll give the organizer the PowerPoint, and probably later the PowerPoint can be put on the website for participants to have a look at.
Yeah, that would be great.
The last question given to me is this one: whether there will be more competition and more collaboration to the fallout. My answer is very simple. In some respect, that is less, and some respect more. But what is certain is that in terms of students' experience or staff experience, institutional experience, or well, we consider it at various level, at whether online learning is acceptable to them, or how ready they are. The situation has been quite different. Whether psychologically, their knowledge about online learning, their ability to use it, the devices available, the readiness has upgraded very much. So in this situation, while we say that we are in an unprecedented challenges, we are experiencing a lot of disruption, opportunities are opening up. There will be a new education world. If we take care of it, and I'm particularly glad to learn that OUM is doing very well during the situation, and is a blessing in disguise to them. So it could be to other institutions as well. The pandemic could somehow be a blessing in disguise for our development, for enhancing our quality development. Okay, I hope I have not used too much time.
It's okay, Casey, no problem. Yeah, it's comprehensive as well. Yeah, thank you, Casey. Pak Mansur, I have 3 notes from Casey just now, responding to your expectation. There is words, I think that's good, high flex, hybrid flexible. That's the first one, Casey told us. And then the activities should be on-site and online. And the other one, collaboration. You said partnership. It seems there is, what do you call it? In line, actually, how to cope with our open and distance learning to serve better and more to the student, for the sake of the students. Pak Mansur, how you reflect or how you respond to high flex that Casey said just now, the hybrid flexible, activities on-site and online, collaboration partnership, how to make it they're all in one on the same bus, for example. Is it what should I say? Does it answer your question just now from Casey? Pak Mansur, please. Yes, the mic is over. Yeah.
All the questions thrown by my colleague Lee and also Tian, we all are good question, and basically answered most of the question. Basically, we are unique because in Malaysia, our ODL is all private.
Oh, okay.
Public, basically in Indonesia it's public, in Hong Kong maybe private, semi-private, whatever it is, but we are private. Basically, although we are private, we are owned by the 11 public university. In other words, it's a private entity, but indirectly belong to the government.
Government, yes.
So because of that, we have to make our education affordable to all the people. And we have been doing that. And basically, the people require good quality education to be delivered to them either through online or Blender or whatever, right? But basically, before you embark on anything, it's good to check with the student what is
Oh.
their expectation. In that way, whatever you do won't go wrong in a big way. And for the past 20 years, which the university has been in existence, right, our fees is controlled by the government and has not been increasing. Right? Only the overseas student, whereby the fees are set by our partner. And basically, over the next few years, we expect more and more students will embrace ODL, and basically, this is the way to go. Basically,
Oh.
way forward is through ODL, nothing else. And we find that even the normal face-to-face traditional university and so on, they have to embrace ODL, no choice. It's just the level or the amount of e-learning and the amount of face-to-face, they need to vary to suit the requirement of the student. And basically, in the long term, we feel that somehow or other you have to incorporate ODL in your institution. It is the level of ODL that you need to consider. And over time, I think our technology will get better and better. And each country, the technology is different and so on, right? But basically, when we incorporate technology, when we use technology in our e-learning, right, we must also think of the people who's got no access due
Yes.
to
Oh, yeah.
technology, not because of their fault, because of the company's fault and so on, right? So hopefully, we provide technology most probably 90% through online learning, but basically we have to provide another 10% through ODL, but as another way that overcome the current, what we call limitation of the technology. And it depends on country to country, but over the years, each university got to have e-learning and face-to-face, and variation depend on each country. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Pak Mansur. We still have about 10 to 15 minutes. Ibu Tian, you have one question, but before I read the question for you, maybe you have a response to two things, two notes from KC. Hybrid flexible activities, student activities on site and online. And the last, Pak Mansur, there is 10 to 20% in Indonesian context, maybe more than that. If you go online, totally go online, will be have what do you call it? Constraint for the students of the society. What would be your response to this last phenomena?
I don't know if I can answer that. I mean, what is that?
Hybrid flexible. Yes.
Hybrid flexible rooms where, you know, you have like learning facilities that can be used for online and offline meetings. Is that what you mean, Casey?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, well, in our case in Indonesia, we don't have that many meeting rooms for students. We only have very limited tutorial rooms for students in our regional offices, because our face-to-face tutorials were conducted in our partner institutions using like regular school classrooms, which are not being used during the weekend. So if we have to equip their rooms to become hyper flexible rooms, I think that would be very costly for us. I think what we have been doing during the COVID-19, for example, because we have regular face-to-face meetings with our students in the elementary teacher training programs. which are conducted usually 8 times per semester. And during the COVID, Prof. Ojat has replaced totally that face-to-face meetings with the webinars meeting using Microsoft Teams. And it seems to work very well and well accepted by the students. So probably what we have to do, instead of having a hyper flexible physical meeting rooms, perhaps we should strengthen our online meeting rooms. And Universitas Terbuka has also established virtual reading rooms for a long time, which can also be probably enhanced to become for not only for reading rooms, but really to have a chat rooms online or synchronous chat rooms where tutors and students can really chat in the personalized small group of chatting rooms. I would think that would be more suitable for Indonesian case because of the scale and you know the spread of the demographic situation. And in terms of what was the question? Second question.
On site and online activities.
Yeah, I think that would be
both.
That would be a similar response from me. And the third one from Pak Mansur was that?
How the partnership?
Well, Universitas Terbuka was designed to work with partners. It was not designed to be an independent institution. And we will not be where we are now without partners because, as I mentioned, for example, 75% of our course authors are professors from other universities. Almost 100% of our tutorial and exams locations and centers belong to our partner institutions. The free internet connections that we provide for our students also provided by our national telecom companies, which is in collaboration with us. So partnerships is the baseline of our operation and also the philosophical foundation of our establishment. And I think that it will stay that way until the future. And in terms of, I want to go back to the question, you know, whether we have more collaboration or more competitors because of the pandemic. I think we have more on both. We will be having more competitors, yes, but we also get more partners. Our Director General of Higher Education in Indonesia has two phrases, you know, as the blessing of this pandemic. First one is suddenly everyone is online. Second one, suddenly everyone is sharing. Because in Indonesia, if you look at the national portal, now suddenly everybody is sharing their LMS, including Universitas Terbuka. We open up our LMS to be used by other universities who don't have LMS. And we open up all of our digital materials. Prof. Ojat made it available to everyone in Indonesia for free. And not only Universitas Terbuka, but also other universities. So I think this pandemic has opened up more collaboration as well as more competitors for open universities. But for sure, we have more friends now who believe in online learning. So now if we have problems, if Prof. Ojat have problems, he doesn't have to go to you, Pak Mansur, because now he has more other rectors who will share similar problems in Indonesia, because we are all in the same wagon now. But can I just mention one more thing, Pak? Okay,
yeah, please,
of institutional challenges. I think there is one that I would really like to mention. You know, the World Economic Forum just released its latest report about the jobs that would disappear, like in a matter of weeks. But there are also more jobs is going to be created, new jobs that we don't even now know, also within weeks. And that really needs reskilling and upskilling of the workforce in the field. And according to the survey, McKinsey actually, they only want to spend no more than 3 months to do the upskilling and reskilling, or the companies will not sponsor program that is more than 3 months. So what is that for open universities who are very heavy in formal degree-based education? we have to move forward toward more non-formal education. The micro-credentials that doesn't come from open universities, the idea, we really have to go that way now. So we don't just talk about micro-credential, we don't just talk about the nano degrees, we have to move toward that direction now. Otherwise, we will lose our market very significantly. I think that is the highest challenge for us because we are not used to offering short,
programs,
timely programs.
Yeah, I think that's very good for all of us. Okay, Ibu Tian, Casey, and Pak Mansur, I have two questions from audience, from Ratib and from STOU, and also from Ibu Dian Budiargo. Let me put in one questions and as your closing statements. This is the questions. In one hand, according to our Minister of Education, Merdeka Belajar, to give more opportunity to all the society, to the students. At the same time, according to Ratib from STOU, there are many, let's say, communities or students, less access to that. So I would like, as your closing statement from Ibu Tian, how you respond from institutional perspective, and later on, how Casey, in one hand, we want to expand all the access. On the other hand, there is a problem, but from student sides and from Pak Mansur, from the government side, or on behalf of OUM, for example. Please, Ibu Tian.
Well, I think the latest policy of our Minister of Education, we call it Merdeka Belajar, which basically is, giving the right to students to have more, to take more courses from other universities or other study programs. So our minister said that all universities are obliged. It's mandatory for them to give the right of students to take up to 2 semesters outside the campuses. So for us, in the open universities point of view, it means that we could offer our courses to other university students so they can earn their credit units from our university courses, or even to MOOCs, from MOOCs. So I think this is the era where we can really capitalize on the open education movement. We could offer what we have been providing to our own students for a long time, now to the university, to the conventional university students for credit earning. And I think we also should, I believe that we should also open up our own courses as open courses, but can be transferred to our credit programs. So in a way, we should follow what the Coursera do, I think, We don't want the Coursera to take over our market. So we have to really learn how they do their business, and we should do it as well. So that way, then, students would have more access to our resources, and we could also provide wider services to a wider market. I think that would be the answer, Pauki.
Thank you, Ibu Tian. Casey, there is also additional questions from Ratib, STOU, about the curriculum prior and post the COVID. But what is important is how you cope with, in one hand, there should be a Merdeka Belajar, more access. On the other hand, there is less access from the student side. Please, Casey.
I would repeat one important and a very strong point with the experience from OUM. That is, have students' input, respect their views. In the education field, especially in China, I've got quite a lot of teachers, professors. I've got the impression that students can't provide input on how they should be learning something. Teachers are knowledgeable, or it should be teachers to decide the course. But teachers have the subject matter knowledge. But how to go about the learning, students normally have their own view. They have strong feelings about how they should be going about their learning. So have their input, allow flexibilities for them would be a key to success. and getting a lot of students and making sure that they learn comfortably and love the institution. That is very important. And we have seen the success of OUM. May I also add a point about HiFlex? You just mentioned about
Yes,
hybrid
HiFlex.
flexible learning. I mentioned that all OUHK classrooms have been made HiFlex ready, Zoom ready. It is not really very expensive. Now, basically, all classrooms have already a computer there for presentation. That is a projector. That is a screen at the front of the classroom. And that is standard facility for the classroom. The trouble is that we need to add cameras, and if normally that is also already microphone, and a system, a software system to add everything together so that students can interact with students on site and students elsewhere can interact together. So everyone is on the screen, on the same screen. So, and it is possible through software, and it is not really very expensive to do the upgrade. So institution might like to try with a small number of classrooms and then try the result. And if it is suitable, then it could be expanded. I believe that after students have got the experience of having a lot of online learning, and staff, professors have got such experience, they will expect to have more.
Okay, thank you, Casey. Pak Mansur, Ibu Dian, Ibu Ratib, Miss Ratib from STOU, maybe you may add some approach from OUM perspective. The same questions, but maybe the different perspective. The first one, giving more access. At the same time, there is less access from student sides. And what would be the curriculum if we want, at one hand, we want to expand the access. On the other hand, there is constraints from the students. Please, Pak Mansur.
Basically, first, I would like to say that as far as the vaccine for COVID-19, we expect by middle of next year, we should be able to get somewhere, and hopefully by end of next year, all of us will be vaccinated. That's my first comment. My second comment is basically we need the content interactive, engaging, and interesting for the student. Otherwise, no point doing it. And my third comment is basically what sort of workers are the industry looking forward to in the future. I strongly support the idea that we need to have micro-credential. Basically, people who enroll in the program 2-3 months can get the certificate, whatever it is. But basically, maybe over the next 1 to 2 years, our master PhD are of no value. The one that is more valuable is the one that is offered by short courses or micro. Basically, they have the skill that the company wants, the skill that the car industry wanted, and basically over the next 2-3 years, maybe we want to have a company that specializes in this short skill program, and basically most of the industry out there, they want people who can talk, who can communicate, who have got the necessary financial thing and basic common sense. And based on our experience also in learning, we don't need 4 or 5 years to learn. Maybe 3-4 months is good enough. So basically, in the long term, we need to do some reskilling of our people out there, and Open University or ODL institution can play a positive role in giving the skill needed by the industry out there. Thank you so much.
Yes.
And
Okay.
before I forget, congratulations on your appointment.
Okay. it seems that we have to finish the conversation. And participants, distinguished participants, I would like to remind you that all the participants need to fill in the feedback to get the e-certificate. And also, I would like to remind us all to be prepared for the ICDE President Forum for the 25th of November, and also the AAOU 2021 in Colombo, Sri Lanka. That's a very nice place. And hopefully the vaccine is ready early next year. And let's say mid of 2021, we are all safe. Okay, Ibu Tian, Casey, and also Pak Mansur, thank you very much.
Thank
Pak
you,
Rektor.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, okay. Once
Thank you,
again,
Tian, Pak Mansur, Casey, Pak Oki.
yes,
Thank you.
and
I
also,
sent you an email.
yeah, okay. And also, I would like to inform you all, we'll be having some kinds of a AAOU virtual talk show like this to make this event truthful and also useful for everybody, not only for the AAOU. We are waiting for your suggestion. What would be the next topics, for example? Who will be invited as the speakers? Not only 1, 2, or 3, and even if 6 people, it's okay. As long as we can get the sense of how the open flexible distance learning would be a tool to educate not only the nation within the country, but also in the globe. Okay, once again, thank you very much and all the best. Sehat selalu and be optimistic always. Bye-bye. Bye-bye all. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.